Now we will talk about an initial value problem. So what is an initial value problem? An nth order initial value problem consists of an nth order ODE subject to some conditions. The first condition reads, the value of the dependent variable at some value of the independent variable is some number, so as the value of the y prime at t sub 0 is another number, and the value of the n minus the first derivative of the dependent variable at t sub 0 is some number. Here we set as the y sub 0, y sub 1, and y sub n minus 1 are some constants, the real numbers. The conditions are called initial conditions. We also note this, all the initial conditions are prescribed at some single point t sub 0. In particular, the equation shown in the box subject to this equation is a first order initial value problem. For example, y prime equals y is a first order ordinary differential equation subject to this condition, which reads, the value of the dependent variable when the value of the independent variable is 0 is equal to 1. Similarly, the equation shown in the box subject to these two conditions is an example of second order initial value problem. And we can see the example. Boundary value problem. As we saw earlier, the initial conditions are prescribed at a single point, t sub 0. But in many situations, partial differential equations give rise to ordinary differential equations that are subject to conditions specified on the dependent variable or its derivative at two different points, t sub 0 and t sub 1. Conditions such as in the equation above are called boundary conditions. A differential equation together with boundary conditions is called a boundary value problem, often abbreviated as BVP. For example, this is an ordinary differential equation of order 2 subject to the conditions that y at 0 equals 0 and y at pi equals 0. So we see there are two different values of the independent variable. Similarly, the equation in 2 subject to the conditions are some examples of boundary value problems.